So are you guys ready to make the cake? I'm sure that the boys will be in for a shock. To make a cake and then study standard costing, don't you worry. It is just one thing that you have to keep in mind. Our final product is the cake. And one of the raw material that is required for making the cake is eggs. And as per standard, you need to take 3 eggs for making one cake. This is the only thing that you have to put in mind. Now, before we go into a problem, a small note on standard costing. What exactly do you mean by standard costing? Now, for every business, in order to have that control mechanism in place, what they do is they set a standard for each product. What is the direct material that is to be consumed for 1 unit? What is the direct labor cost that is to be incurred for 1 unit? Variable overheads, what is the amount to be incurred, and so on. So when the actual results come, they compare the actual results with the standards. And if there are differences means variances. If there are variances, then those are noted down. It could either be a favorable variance or it could be an adverse variance. If it's a favorable variance, it is fine. But if it is an adverse variance, then the reasons are investigated and corrective actions are taken. So why is standard costing implemented? To have a control over the working of the organization. So let's get started with one of the basic variances, that is direct material variance. So direct material variance, as I said, we are comparing the standard cost with the actual cost. So what is direct material variance? It is the standard cost of direct material minus the actual cost of direct material. Now, what do you mean by this direct material cost? It is price multiplied by the quantity of raw materials. So what is the standard cost? Standard cost is standard price multiplied by standard quantity. And what is the actual cost? It is the actual price multiplied by the actual quantity. So the short forms that I have used is SP for standard price, AP for actual price, SQ for standard quantity, and AQ for actual quantity. So here we have got 2 elements. One is the price and the other one is the quantity. If the actual price differs from the standard price, we have a variance there. And if the actual quantity differs from the standard quantity, we have a variance there too, which means that the direct material variance can be analyzed into 2 components. What are they? It is the direct material price variance and the direct material usage variance. Now we are always entrusting the purchase manager to buy the raw materials for us. So the price variance is always his responsibility. So the price variance is the purchase manager's responsibility. And as for the usage variance, it is under the control of the production manager. So the usage variance is the production manager's responsibility. Now, what is the formula for direct material price variance? We are actually trying to find out the difference between the standard price and the actual price. So standard price minus the actual price for how many units? For the entire quantity of raw materials that we have purchased. And what is that? It is AQ or actual quantity. So we multiply that with the actual quantity to get the direct material price variance. Now coming to the usage variance. Usage, what are we trying to find out? Whether there is a difference between the standard quantity and the actual quantity. So let's write the formula. It is SQ minus AQ, but this is a difference only in quantity terms. We have to convert that into value, or it should be converted into dollar terms. So we multiply that with the standard price to get the variance in the dollar amount. So multiplied by standard price, you get the direct material usage variance. Now let's start with the problem of making the cake. So I've already copied the formulas for your easy reference. That's the direct material total variance split into the price variance and the usage variance. So the question is standard cost for making one cake. Okay, so we are dealing only with raw materials here. So direct material, one cake requires 3 eggs and the price of 1 egg is ₹5. Which means that the total direct material cost is 3 into 5 or 15 rupees. And what is the actual cost? Actual, it is 3,200 eggs multiplied by 6, giving an amount of 19,200. And the actual production of cakes is 1,000. This is very important. Calculate direct material price and usage variance. So the price as per standard is given here. Rupees 5 is the price of one egg as per standard. So that is nothing but the standard price. And rupees 6 is the price at which we actually bought the eggs. So what is that? It is the actual price. And how many eggs did we buy? 3,200 eggs. That is nothing but the actual quantity. Now, all that we need is a standard quantity. What are we trying to find out? We are going to compare the actual quantity with the standard quantity, right? The actual quantity of raw materials taken for making 1,000 cakes, we should be comparing it with the standard quantity required for making 1,000 cakes, right? Can we compare the 3,200 eggs with the standard of 3 eggs? Can we make a comparison like that? Oh my God, we have used 3,197 eggs extra. Can we say like that? Absolutely not. Because this 3 eggs is the standard quantity for making 1 cake. We need the standard quantity for making 1,000 cakes. So what is SQ? SQ is given by working note 1. SQ is 3 into 1,000 because 3 eggs for 1 cake. So for 1,000 cakes, it is 3 into 1,000 or 3,000 eggs. So as per standard, we were supposed to use 3,000 eggs. And what is the actual quantity of eggs that we used? 3,200 eggs. We have caused a loss for the company because of that. Okay, anyway. So what is the direct material total variance? Copying the formula from the right side, it is SP into SQ, that's the standard cost, minus AP into AQ, that's nothing but the actual cost. So SP from the question, it's 5, and SQ from working note 1, it is 3,000. AP from the question, it is 6, and AQ from the question, it is 3,200. So substituting in the formula, we get 5 into 3,000 minus 6 into 3,200. So we get 15,000 minus 19,200. This is the standard cost, and this is the actual cost, which means that our actual cost is more than the standard. The variance is adverse or unfavorable. So it is 4,200 adverse variance because the actual cost has exceeded the standard cost. Now coming to the direct material price variance. So the formula is SP minus AP into AQ. So just noting down the formula. So we are trying to find out what is the difference in price that we have paid multiplied by the actual quantity of eggs. So what is the standard price? Standard price is 5, actual price is 6, and the actual quantity is 3,200. Substituting in the formula, we get 5 minus 6 into 3,200, or we have paid an extra 1 rupee for each egg. So that is also causing an adverse variance. So it is 3,200 adverse. Now coming to the direct material usage variance. So what is the formula? From the right side, I'm copying SQ minus AQ into SP. So what is SQ? It is from working note 1, 3,000. AQ, that's from the question 3,200, and SP again from the question, it is 5. Substituting in the formula, we get 3,000, that's the standard quantity, minus actual quantity 3,200 into 5. We have taken an extra 200 eggs, which means that there again, it is an adverse variance. So the final answer is 1,000 rupees adverse. If you cross-check the price variance plus the usage, that is 3,200 plus 1,000, it will add up to the direct material total variance of 4,200 rupees. So our answer is right. What we have just studied is the formula method. Now I want you to know one more method, and that is a format method, which will increase your speed in tackling the problems on standard costing. So let's take a look at the format method. Now for the format method, we are using the very same formulas that we have used in the formula method. It is just that it is written in a particular format, which makes you work faster. Okay, so let's take a look. The direct material total variance is given by the formula standard quantity into standard price minus the actual quantity into the actual price. So what is SQ into SP? That's nothing but the standard cost. And what is AQ into AP? That is nothing but the actual cost. So in the format, we write the standard cost in the bottom, that is SQ into SP, and the actual cost in the top, that is AQ into AP. And what is the difference between the two? That is direct material total variance. If the top figure is more, it is adverse variance. That is, if the actual cost is more than the standard, it is adverse variance. So you don't need to think about the actual and the standard. Just look whether the top figure is more. If it is more, it is adverse variance. Okay. Now coming to the direct material price variance. What is the formula? Standard price minus actual price multiplied by the actual quantity. So I'm just opening the bracket here. So it is actual quantity multiplied by the standard price minus actual quantity multiplied by the actual price. Okay. And what is this actual quantity multiplied by standard price? It is actual quantity valued at standard prices. And what is actual quantity multiplied by AP or actual price? It is actual quantity valued at actual prices. And what about the direct material usage variance? It is given by the formula standard quantity minus the actual quantity multiplied by the standard price. So here also I'm opening the brackets. So it is standard quantity multiplied by standard price minus actual quantity in the standard price. So what is standard quantity in the standard price? It is the standard quantity valued at standard prices. And what is actual quantity in the standard price? It is actual quantity valued at standard prices. Here we are trying to find out the difference between the standard quantity and the actual quantity. Now, if you observe these two formulas, this actual quantity at standard prices is common for both, correct? So I'm going to just write that in the middle of our format. That is actual quantity at standard prices. That is actual quantity into standard price. Now look at this. What we have here is the formula of direct material price variance. And what we have here is the formula for direct material usage variance. So I'm just marking it. So the top portion is the direct material price variance and the bottom portion is the direct material usage variance. And always remember, when the top figure is more, it is an adverse variance. So let's do the same problem under the format method. So we have the very same question here, and I have just marked out SP, AQ, AP, and SQ that we had found in the previous method. And on the right side, we have the format. And I will just be keying in the figures from the question. So we have the actual cost here with AQ into AP. So what is AQ? AQ is 3,200 and AP is 6. So it is 3,200 into 6, giving an amount of 19,200. And second comes actual quantity valued at standard prices. What is AQ? AQ is 3,200 and SP is 5. So substituting those figures there, we have 3,200 into 5, giving an answer of 16,000 rupees. Now coming to the standard cost, it is SQ into SP. SQ is 3,000 and SP is 5. Substituting those figures, we have 3,000 into 5, giving an answer of 15,000 rupees. Now we know that if the top figure is more, it is adverse variance. So here we have direct material price variance, 19,200 minus 16,000. And since the top figure is more, it's an adverse variance. So we get 3,200 adverse. Now coming to the direct material usage variance, it is 16,000 minus 15,000. And since the top figure is more, we have an adverse variance. So the final answer is 1,000 adverse. And what about the direct material total variance? It is 19,200 minus 15,000. And since the top figure is more, it's again an adverse variance. So it is 4,200 adverse. Personally, I always prefer the format method because it is faster. Even if you are given a question for backward working of variance, that is, you will be given the variance and you will be asked to find a missing figure. Even then, the format method will give you a clearer picture of the question. Now, the next thing that we have to learn is the direct material variances when there is a stock of raw materials. So let's take a look. Now, in the question that we attempted earlier, you can see that 3,200 eggs were bought and used. What does this mean? It simply means that the stock is equal to 0 because whatever has been bought has been used. Now, suppose The purchase manager had purchased 3,500 eggs, and the quantity that was used by the production manager was only 3,200 eggs, which means that we have a stock of 300 eggs with us. Okay. So in this case, how will the variances be affected? This is what we are going to see. So 3,500 eggs is nothing but the actual quantity bought, and 3,200 eggs is the actual quantity used. And there is a change in the purchase cost too. The purchase cost is 21,000, that is 3,500 multiplied by 6. Now listen carefully. The production manager has used 3,200 eggs itself, which means that the direct material usage variance needn't change. It should remain at 1,000 rupees, where the actual quantity used is 3,200. But what about the direct material price variance? The purchase manager has bought 3,500 eggs, and he bought it at rupees 6 when he was asked to buy at rupees 5, which means that for each egg, he paid 1 rupees extra. So what is the price variance or the adverse price variance which he has caused? It is 3,500 eggs, the eggs that he bought, multiplied by the extra one that he paid for each egg, which means that the price variance should have been 3,500 rupees. So look carefully at the modification that we are going to make in the format. The direct material usage variance still remains at 1,000, where we are using the actual quantity used. But as for the direct material price variance, we have to take the actual quantity of raw materials bought. So what is the actual quantity bought? It is 3,500. So I'm going to key in that figure here, actual quantity bought into actual price. Actual quantity bought 3,500, actual price 6. So it's 3,500 into 6, giving an amount of 21,000 rupees. And here, actual quantity bought multiplied by standard price. Actual quantity bought is 3,500 and standard price is 5. So substituting those figures, we have 3,500 into 5, giving an amount of 17,500. So the direct material price variance is 21,000 minus 17,500. And since the top figure is more, we have an adverse variance of 3,500. And what about the direct material total variance? It is nothing but a total of the price and the usage. So it is 3,500 plus 1,000, giving an amount of 4,500 adverse. Now, an important note, this method is also known as maintaining stock at standard prices. This method means taking the actual quantity bought for calculating the direct material price variance. Now, you might be wondering, why is it called maintaining stock at standard prices? This is not very important, but for the super genius who really wants an answer for this, listen carefully, okay? 3,500 eggs have been bought at rupees 6, and the amount that has hit the stock account is 21,000 rupees initially, out of which we have issued 3,200 eggs for production. And whenever we are making an issue to production, it is always done at the standard price, and standard price is 5. So what is the amount? The amount is 16,000 rupees, which is taken out from the stock account. So I'm indicating with a negative figure. And then what have we taken out? We have calculated the direct material price variance. That also hits the stock account. So minus 3,500. And what is minus 3,500? It is nothing but the direct material price variance. So what is the balance in stock account? It is 21,000 minus 16,000 minus 3,500. So we are left with an amount of 1,500 rupees for the 300 eggs that we have in stock. So can you tell me what is the rate at which we have valued the eggs? 300 into dash is equal to 1,500. It is 5, right? So 5 is the rate at which we have valued stock. And what is 5? 5 is nothing but the standard price. That is the reason why this method is known as maintaining stocks at standard prices. Now, time and again when I take class, some children immediately ask the question, ma'am, why is it called maintaining stock at standard prices? So it is only for them who have doubt in their mind. All the others, just don't worry about the stock account part. Just understand that that method is also known as maintaining stock at standard prices. Okay, now we will have a quick recap of what we studied in today's class. The format when actual quantity bought is equal to the actual quantity used. That is when stocks is equal to 0. So what is the format? The actual cost on top and the standard cost here. Actual cost is nothing but actual quantity into actual price, and standard cost is nothing but standard quantity into standard price. And the difference between the two is known as the direct material total variance. And what is direct material price variance? It is actual quantity into actual price minus actual quantity into standard price. And direct material usage variance, it is actual quantity into standard price minus the standard quantity into standard price. And whenever the top figure is more, it is an adverse variance. So immediately when you see the top figure is higher than the bottom figure, write adverse variance. You don't need to think twice. Okay. Now format when actual quantity bought is not equal to the actual quantity used. That is when we have stocks. Okay. The format is we have a split format here. That is for direct material usage variance, we use the actual quantity used. But for the direct material price variance, we take the actual quantity bought. And this method is also known as when stocks are maintained at standard prices. Now coming to think of it, the only raw material that we have used for making the cake is eggs. Can just imagine the taste of that cake. But even if your cake goes bad, I'm sure that you will get your answers right for direct material variance. Thank you for watching and have a great day.